What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Maverick here with episode 3 of Listeners. So, last episode we got into a bit of a weird situation, right? We had some pretty weird frenemies, not quite friends, not quite enemies, who are pretty unique as well, stylized after a certain German band, which unfortunately I've never heard of, but with utilizing a lot of the similar imagery and context of the German band as well. I actually already sort of forgotten what the name was. It's in German, basically. But old buildings, right? It's referencing collapsing old buildings. It's referencing perhaps a time gone by. And I do wonder if it is tied somewhat to why the world is it is as right now. Maybe sort of kind of post-apocalyptic, something like that. And of course, at the very end, we leave on a cliffhanger with some some dude descending from the skies. Again, not quite sure if it's a friend or enemy, but things are going to get interesting, right? I do feel like in this episode we're going to learn more about the actual history of this world and what the players actually are, what the earlists actually are, and why does the system exist in the first place. So let's get right to it. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Listener. Fireworks? Royalty, eh? This is probably a player as well, considering the stack right next to him. Grandmaster. So this is like a knight order or something? Really? Hmm? Ooh. That day. Huh. So that's actually in the past or something. Man, if nothing else, the music from this anime so far is great. I'm talking about the opening, the ending, and all the background music in between. It's really living up to the music genre that it has. Now let's just hope that the story can actually go somewhere. But I mean, it's still early on in the series, right? Wasn't too impressed by the last episode, but hopefully this one we'll learn a bit more. It's going to be a bit more coherent. Listeners is actually getting really bad reviews on my anime list as well. I know, I feel like people are a bit harsh on anything that doesn't already have a big name already. You made me realize. That's a My Bloody Valentine song, right? So we had classic rock in the first episode. Ooh. Industrial rock in a second, and now alternative. Oh. It's actually this girl. That's why they wear that on their faces. Alright, so what are you gonna do? I feel like the designs of these mechs are... What? I guess that's her ultimate? No. Her ability, her power, somewhat. No, as I was saying, I feel like the designs for these mechs are so over the top. Chelsea girl. Oh, the signature. Oh, she's pissed. Really? You're taking this very much in stride, Echo. Is this gonna be one of those I can't take you into danger kind of things, you know? Tremolo. Villain Valentine. Deputy director. So who's the director? Oh, it's the mayor.
くのイクイプメントがスクラップになったわ。参加主要国だった私たちの国は当然責任を負うことになった。世界情勢を変えるほどの大戦を引き起こしたその代償として
What?
かけがえのない故郷を失ったの。
Why would this be triggering a war?
私にフェスの失敗はたった一人のプレイヤーの暴走によって引き起こされた。当時最も力を持っていたそのプレイヤーの名はジミストーン・フリー。
Jimmy
あな
sound.
たの持つそのコアパーツは彼と全く同じものよ。助けるなんてとんでもない。あなたは私に拘束されたの。さあミュウ、次はこちらが質問させてもらうわ。あなたは何者？
うわー、すごいなここ。でも一体何なんだよ、いきなり帰った方がいいなんてさ。なあ、清流管が焼き切れてる。替えの部品さえあればすぐ直せるんだけど。
There's probably a lot over here.
これかい？消え去るよりも燃え尽きた方がいい。あれって誰の言葉だっけ？
あなたはもしかしてやっぱり本物
Huh. Kevin Valentine.
世界の若獅子
So related with him.
サインを。
落ち着け少年。今問題なのはこれだろ？少年、もしかしてこれ自作アンプか？
そのうちはリバチェスタって田舎町でいろんなとこから廃品パーツが流れてくるんですけど、それでヒロとパーツを組み合わせて見よう見まねで作ってみたっていうか、その
リバチェスタ。なるほど、あの町で育ったのか。そうか。しかしジャンクパーツからこんなアンプを作り出すとは。名前は？
名前ですか？
君の名前だよ。
エコーレックです。
エコー、いい名前だ。僕はケビン・バレンタイン。
知ってます。
Kevin and Echo.
消え去るよりも燃え尽きた方がいい。だがたとえ燃え尽きても修理すればまた使える。それこそエンジニアの腕の見せ所。そうじゃないか？
記憶喪失ね。
いいですよ、信じなくったって。
あら、いたずらに決めつけたりしないわ。でもあなたをこのまま野放しにするってわけにもいかないわね。
そんな。
それだけ危険な力なのよ。それこそ使い方を間違えれば世界を滅ぼしかねないくらいのね。それに記憶がないってことは行くあてもないんでしょ。急いで出ていく理由もないんじゃない？
それはそうですけど。
ケビン、アンプに刺さなくていいんですか？
知らなかったのか？コアパーツが反応さえすればイクイプメントは起動できる。
誰ですか？
うちの所長、もう4年
Oh. Director.
久しぶりに
Her brother.
来たと思ったら、
あいつも何なのよ、人の気も知らないでヘラヘラ楽しそうにしちゃって。
なんで男ってあんなにメイクが好きなのかしら。男どもって勝手よね。
ま、お互い様ですけど。
Alright. So they're each bonding with each other.
すみません、もう休ませてもらっていいですか？
それは構わないけど。
スクラップの中からプレイヤーか。まるでおとぎ話だな。
そりゃ僕も驚きましたよ。ほんとどこから紛れ込んだんだか。
それで君はその子のパートナーになったってわけかい？
そのことなんですけど、実は国に帰れって言われちゃいまして。
そうか。まあ若いうちはよくやらかすもんさ。いいか少年、女性ってのはムードを尊ぶんだ。
そういうケビンさんも昔はプレイヤーだったんですよね。
なんだい、やぶから棒に。
プレイヤーメーカーに乗ってたシンクの霊人は2人乗り用の機体でした。
Sue.
今はビリンさんが1人で乗ってる。どうして降りたんですか？
勉強熱心でいいことだ。君の言う通り、スーは2人乗りだ。彼女と乗るために僕が作った。勝手な話だ。僕は怖くなったんだ。
耳なしと戦うのがですか？
それもある。だが降りた理由は、彼女は騎士だ。国のためなら命
All right. Parallel to Mew.
だから君のこと
Are they going by its official name, or are they gonna give it like a nickname? I'm guessing nickname.
なんだかいろいろ考えちゃって。こうして風に体を委ねていると、すべてがただの夢だったような気さえする。Like a daydream。白チューブみたいにね。本当はもう世の中から耳なしがいなくなっていて、私たちは暗闇に怯えることなく暮らしていた。だってそんなのただの空想です。冷たいこと言うわ。彼を失うのが怖くなったのね。あなたがどこから来たのかも、なぜ記憶を失ったのかも私は知らないし、正直まだあなたのことを疑っているわ。だからこれは同じプレイヤーのただの独り言で
I feel like the development here is a little bit too fast.
たまには声が聞こえることがある。もちろん幻聴よ。本当の声じゃない。でも猛烈に求められてる気がする。もっともっと苦悩も理性も吹き飛ぶほどに思いを浴びせてほしい。そう叫んでるように聞こえるの。私はこの世から耳なしを消し去りたい。世界に恨まれたって故郷がなくなったって諦め
So, how did the first earless show up?
孤独な亡霊を
Last episode, we see that the earless are failed players, right?
プレイヤーに一番
So why was there the need for players in the first place?
腕力違う。テクニック
So the players weren't originally devised to fight the earless?
それを誰かに伝えたいという強い気持ち。それが道となり光となって耳なしたちを導くの。彼を失う恐怖を前にしても、あなたにまだ残っているものがあるから。それこそがあなたの信念なんじゃないかしら。
She's a knight, right? So of course she would be all high up on the I have conviction talk.
彼女のことよろしくね。やっと引きこもりから卒業。
夢の続きが気になってね。
こいつの名前は AC
They're going with the official name. Yeah,
僕はずっと
that is a Vox AC30
そのまま死んでいくんだって思ってた。
in cream color.
出会うまできっとそれが僕の人生だったんだ。そうだよ。あんたはあそこにいた方が幸せだった。私すごい危ないんだって。一緒にいたらきっとあんたまで危ない目に。だけど僕は君と一緒に行く道を選んだ。危ないくらいなんだよ。誰に何を言われたか知らないけど、このまま帰ったりするもんか。ミュウ、僕は君と。
And Echo, I mean, sure, I can totally get why they develop it this way, right? But still, Echo was just in the first and second episodes very reluctant to go on this journey, right?
リバチェストの少年か。はてさて、うちの騎士団長はどうなることやら。
久々に熱くなってきちゃった。10年ぶりに一緒にどう？若獅子さん。
You made me realize.
今度は止めないの？
止めるわけない。だろ？
Go where? Do what? What?
相手してもらうわよ。その力、天使か悪魔か見極めさせてもらおうじゃない。
ビリーさん、おお、いいんですか私。先輩への礼儀とか全然ないですけど。
だからこそ教えてあげたいのよ。この世で最も美しい真なる紅をね。
戦いたいだけじゃなくて、
お互い様でしょ。
エコ、ミュウ。
I feel like they are at an inherent disadvantage here without being in a cockpit, right? Like, that's really dangerous. How would you know how to make it like this? Oh my god. But I just realized it really makes sense that she's riding on that, right? As a knight. On a horse with a lance and whatnot. You gave a name? How do you suddenly know how to make these adjustments? Oh my god.
怖かったんだ。もしかしたら私ここにいちゃいけないんじゃないかって。あんたにもらった理由まで誰かに取り上げられちゃうんじゃないかって。私プレイヤーでいたい。
Isn't the same... Yeah.
彼の時よりもずっと熱く
まだまだ青いわね。今度は私たちが
That was a nice little pun.
I can see it.
But I can't.
What in the world is going on? Where are you guys going to, though?
あのフェス以降、残されたプレイヤーたちはそれぞれの領地に引きこもった。彼らはそれぞれ私ですら知り得ないジミの秘密を握っている。彼らに会ってその力の真相を明かしなさい。
Alright, we've got the main quest now. So now they need to go around and meet with all the different players. And what if he turns out to be your father or something?
なあビリン
何？
今日世界が変わると思うかい
さあ、どうかしらね。
Oh? We got a new ending. And I think this is a new ending song as well. Wow, they redraw the ending animation for every episode, huh? Borders. Huh, they're all being sung by Mew. The voice actress for Mew. And they're all composed by Jin, the main composer for this series. But even more than that, I'm impressed by this, you know, this artwork, this style. I really dig it, actually. Huh. Alright. What? They're going to school next? Alright. Well, anyways, that's the preview. I'll see you guys in a second. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 3 of Listeners. And once again, I gotta emphasize that I love what they're doing with the ending here. They're changing the ending song, they're drawing new artwork for it, and the artwork is really good as well. I really like the style that they're going for here. If they keep this up throughout the entire season, every single episode features a different ending song and a different ending artwork, which I'm not sure about the songs, but at least the artwork, they have to do it that way, right? Otherwise, they don't have a general purpose ending that they can use. Everything in the ending animation, the ending artwork, is taken from things that happen within the episode, right? So I do think that if they're going to go that far already, they might as well make a song for every single episode, right? So if that turns out to be true, man, I gotta give them props. They put a lot of effort into just these 2 parts, right? And as a music anime, I'm always constantly stressing, if you're a music anime, you gotta have a lot of music in there. Now, preferably, it would be integrated within the episode, but the way that they're doing this, I guess it also kind of makes sense, and it's better than nothing, right? So, once again, 2 thumbs up. I give them full props for this, and hopefully they can keep it up. So, let's talk a little bit about the story here, right? So last episode, I was kind of, on the fence. I didn't really like the way that they introduced the 3 sisters, seemed kind of random and all that. Now we finally get a little bit more information, and in fact, I would even say that they're probably progressing the story a tad too fast, and I mean, I totally get it, right? It's only a single season, they want to get on with it, and it seems to be one of those anime where they're going to have to meet a lot of different characters and get a lot of clues, get a lot of hints and whatnot, eventually coming back into the main story, right? So they gotta move it. But I just wish they could have maybe taken some time to develop the characters a little bit more. Like, for instance, Echo. So we're on episode 3, right? In episode 1, he was reluctant to do anything out of the ordinary. He just wanted to live his simple life in Liverchester, right? In episode 2, even at the beginning of episode 2, he was stressing that he didn't really want to leave town. He missed his homeland and whatnot. And that was basically it, right? Sure, Mew cheered him up and whatnot and said, yeah, the world is big and so on and so forth, but nothing really happened out of all that. He didn't really get to see the world yet. He didn't really get to see anything because he was, they were immediately, they were on the train and then they were immediately attacked, and then we had the entire weird illusion thingy with the bathroom, right? So, I mean, sorry, not the bathroom, the toilet, the restroom. So how come all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I really want to see the world. I want to travel the world with you, and so on and so forth. I feel like that development was a little bit too fast. I'm not saying that I don't get why he would think this way. I mean, it's entirely logical, right? Being a small town boy, basically, and particularly someone like him who's very interested in the players and also interested in tinkering with things, engineering and whatnot, broadening his horizons. That makes total sense, right? But I just wish they would have taken care to develop this this part a bit more, really, like showing him getting excited at learning about all the different things, and perhaps even integrating into dialogue, right? Like saying like, oh, I really want to go on this journey because I want to meet all these different players. It's so awesome. I get to meet them in person, something like that. I feel like we can. I'm sure we can sort of imply this, but I would have liked them to take care to show it a little bit more. I mean, it's not that big a deal, all things considered. It's just it's just something that I wish they could have taken the time to sort of give it a bit more flavor, right? And the same here with the 2 Valentines warming up to Mew and Echo, right? That also seemed rather fast. 1 second ago, you're basically saying, hey, your heritage is the power that sort of destroyed, ultimately was the reason why we were kicked out of our kingdom, or our kingdom got dissolved or something like that. Not really sure what happened, but definitely they're not they're not the grandmaster and the prince of their kingdom anymore, right? So you would think that there would be a bit more suspicion on her part and a bit more be a bit more reserved, but no, they instantly warm up to them and you know, show them everything, get into sparring fights, and they're basically like sisters and brothers already, right? I felt like that also was a little bit too fast, but yeah. At the end of the day, it is sort of just a nitpick. I can see that they are trying to rush along, but you know, these small details go a long way towards making the story feel more complete and just overall making it into a good story rather than a serviceable story, let's say. And speaking of story, so we do get a little bit more backstory in this one, right? And first of all, as expected, the mayor of Liverchester, he was probably a big shot back in the day as well. It's possible that he was even, perhaps he was even a leader of a country or kingdom himself, right? Or perhaps he served under the Valentines. Huh. If they are still in the same country, like maybe Liverchester is the remnants of you know, their kingdom, right? That could also be a possibility. But no, probably not. I think maybe he had his own sort of kingdom as well, or at least he was one of the top officials in the kingdom or country that he came from, right? And then we got this I guess this ultimate mystery, this Jimmy Stonefree. I mean, it's obvious that we're probably going to see him sometime soon. I'm not really sure what the reference is here. The most obvious one and the one that instantly pops to my mind would be Jimi Hendrix. But I don't really see what connection there is. We'll probably have to wait until Jimmy Stonefree appears, and then we can see whether or not it is a sort of play on the real-life Jimi Hendrix, right? I mean, I would assume so, because this is, you know, they're doing a lot of things related with rock and roll. Jimmy, and being called Jimmy Stonefree, you would obviously think of Jimi Hendrix, right? So, we shall see. We shall see on that part. And one thing I'm really still curious about is this relationship between the players and the earless, right? In the last episode, we kind of learned that the earless are basically failed players. But that actually turns, you know, I even kind of failed to touch on this in the last episode, but you know, it just suddenly occurred to me that if that was the case, then why did the players exist in the first place, right? Originally, I thought the players were sort of humanity's answers to these monsters, these earless, right? And they're champions, they're heroes of the human race, and they are the heroes that are fighting against these evil spawn, basically. But if this was the case, and the earless are actually manifestations of players, then what was the original role of the players? Why were they devised in the first place? Why did humans become players? Was it really more of a, I don't know, like a gladiatorial thing? They had tournaments and you know, fighting amongst each other, battles and whatnot, and then as a result of all that, the earless then manifested themselves. Is it really something just as simple as that? And then now suddenly humanity is on the verge of being destroyed because of this sort of negative loop of the player system. And that would be quite ironic, I would say. But yeah, I do hope that we can learn a bit more about these specific things. You know, just learning the history of the players, I feel like is a good enough information to continue on with the theory crafting. And yeah. Oh, and one last thing. So in the sort of introduction for the Valentines and their I guess mechs or whatever you want to call it, their equipment, right? Their equipment. I actually also saw a panel where it showed Kevin's effector board. That's literally what the title said. So that actually brings up another interesting sort of mechanic into this world. So effectors, or pedals, some call them pedals, they're basically you know, you connect them to your guitar, your bass, or whatever, and then you affect your sound through them, and then the sound is put out through the amps, right? The amplifiers. So I was theorizing a few episodes ago, back in episode 1, whether or not we're actually going to see the equivalent of a real instrument, right? So in this case, I think the players can be kind of thought as the instruments. But if that's the case, then maybe we can have these effectors, we can have these pedals and whatnot, and through the various usage of these things, we can sort of enhance or alter the output of the players, right? And perhaps the attacking power, defensive power, the power of the equipment themselves. So if that proves to be true, that's going to be very, very interesting, right? And that opens up a ton of new possibilities as well, because there are literally thousands upon thousands of different pedals and different effects that you can use. So that would be cool as well. And actually, speaking on that note, one thing I forgot to mention back in the sort of moving too fast part is, again, Echo. So how did he suddenly learn how to fine-tune all these different things? For all he knows, he's just creating an amp, right? He's just putting together an amp. And then suddenly now he's able to do on-the-fly adjustments and being able to modify the amp so that it can also enhance the power output of the equipment? Like, what? I mean, I guess we're not supposed to take this series too seriously, which is something, it's something that a habit that I often fall into, right? Not everything needs to be really deconstructed and analyzed and whatnot, especially for this one, which is a little bit more over the top kind of outlandishness, right? But it just kind of bugs me sometimes when these things aren't properly when they don't go through the proper process of doing things. But yeah, still really looking forward to the future to see if they are going to use different effects and whatnot, and hopefully the battles are just going to get more and more interesting between the players and the equipment and so on and so forth. We already know what's going to happen from now on. They're going to go around the world, meet different players, and get more information on Jimmy Stonefree, right? That's probably like the main quest right now. And then once they piece all the puzzles together, I assume that Jimmy Stonefree is probably going to show up as part of the last arc, and then it's going to be revealed that Mew has what kind of relation with Jimmy, right? Potentially his daughter or something like that. I don't know, but I guess we will learn soon enough. This hopefully, anyways, because this series hasn't had any announcement of being delayed yet. Hopefully that continues on, and so hopefully I will continue to see you guys every week as well. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and seriously, I think Listeners is underrated right now, particularly on my anime list, so go spread this series some love. I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye.